Okay, so to answer your question, uh, you know, let me try to think about a few things because this question kind of touches so many things at the same time. You're 19, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So when I started making music, I was actually 16, I think. So between 16 and 20 something, I didn't do shit. It was really expensive to do music back then, and it was
Of
just
course.
impossible.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah. I know.
so I'm jumping to late 90s, early 2000. Basically, what happened is Montreal had a really nice minimal scene that I really fell in love with, and there was a lot of producers. And the great thing is that in the Quebec culture, people are really friendly. People are just very open.
Yes, I was in Quebec summer. I could experience that. Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
so you
Yeah.
saw. And uh, like eventually started the festival Mutec, and that for me is what really made a difference. So usually when I get a question like yours, and it happens times to times, um, usually what I say is networking is as important as knowing softwares and making music. So if I would divide, like what's really important before investing in a studio, before doing everything, there's two things that are super critical, which is first your network of people that you know, and that starts with promoters and other producers and people in the industry. And second of all is about knowing your shit, knowing your music, knowing, uh, like who's who, what label does what, what's the sound at the moment, who plays what, listen to a lot of podcasts, listen to a lot of DJ mixes.
Yes, yes, of course.
This is like what creates your culture, and that's like
Mhm.
extremely essential to do whatever you want to do. So uh, I was really impressed by the email that you sent me. I think it's a really good thing that you have because it shows that you're on a good path, and I thought that was really cool. um and like what made Feek grow. I talk to myself about myself as a third person because Feek was the entity of my creative side, and that kind of grew by itself as I was always open to new ideas. I think what really helped was that I was saying yes to everything. So a promoter would ask me to play a shitty party. I would say yes. Someone would say, do you want to play for free at this event? I would say yes. Do you want to remix this guy? Yes. Do you want to do a release for free? Yes. I would say yes to everything. And I would value and make sure that I would be in good contact with whoever I would work with.
Mhm.
And the thing is, if you have that in mind, that everyone that you meet, everyone that you work with is important, and you treat them with great respect, uh, this is something where people will, um, hold on a second, it will bring other projects. So saying yes to something brought me to a gig. Saying yes to have a meeting with this promoter brought me a remix with this guy. Remixing this guy for free brought me a release on that label. And
Yes.
sometimes, like, it's funny, but like I did a remix for free for this label, and 10 years after, some people discovered me in Jakarta, like at the other end of the world.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was really weird because these guys kind of just made me I'm known in Jakarta. Like, how did that happen? Like, it's just because I said yes to that remix, and it's just weird.
Hmm.
So this is what really made a difference in the end, was just about kind of just
Of
accepting
course.
that. I don't know if you read my blog, but one thing that comes a lot in my blog is I tell people to focus on what they can control. If you focus on things you can control, then you're going to be frustrated at the end of the day. So what can you control? You can't control much besides meeting people and be the best of who you are, and hopefully they like you or they won't. I think if you just have meaningful contacts each time you go out and you meet people that are giving you back that vibe, that's the only thing that really matters. At the beginning of when I was doing events and I was playing in events, there was not many people showing up because it was only my few friends that would come up and they would like it, you know, and then some people would hate what I would do. But you know, like how people would react wouldn't really be my interest so much. I would just be more interested in playing as many gigs as I could, releasing as many things as I could, because releasing and playing is it's actually what I can control. What I can't control is how people are using it, listening to it, and buying it, and doing whatever they want with it. And if you focus on who listens to it and if they bought it, if they like it, you're gonna be miserable. You're gonna be feeling really depressed because that kind of stuff is just shit. So what you do is you release a lot of stuff, and you know, if one guy gets your release and maybe another guy likes it, it doesn't matter. In 10 years, if you said yes to so many things, in 10 years, you're going to have like a shitload of things you're going to be part of. And people are going to start digging in your past. And now they're going to discover things you've done before. And they'll see your progression. They'll see what you did. You know, there's a lot of writers. There's a lot of jazz musicians. There's a lot of painters. In their early days, they really, really didn't mind about if what they were creating was actually amazing or not. They were more interested in sadly, more in the quantity and making sure they would be sounding or be the best as they could do at that moment. But in the back of their head, they understood one critical point, which is in life, you're always a work in progress. You are not who you are at the moment you release it, because at the moment it gets released, you're actually 3 months ahead. So you have to let go, you know, like it's out, it's done. You just like, you know, like when people argue with me that the sound of their snare should be 1 dB louder or less loud, or I'm like, dude, it doesn't fucking matter. It really doesn't. Just get it out, and there's no one that will be like, oh, it should have been like 1 dB up. Like no one cares besides you. And that's even, you know, like in 10 years, you will never, ever even think about that. You have to think about how is this important in 10 days and 10 months and then 10 years, you know? And that will be like kind of giving you a better idea of like what you're doing is actually mattering or not. So, you know, as for people that don't answer your emails, for me, this is one of the most frustrating things. Sometimes you have no idea. Like sometimes, you know, like there's people that have been like almost begging me to work with them. And I'm like, okay, cool, let's work together. And I start working with them, and then all of a sudden they disappear, and they won't answer emails for months. And I mean, like, I'm not angry at them, because everyone has like shit going on. Everyone has like depression, people dying in their family, you know, who knows? But the thing is, I never spend energy on people that don't reply back. It's what I call the echo. It's a theory that I have for business and to be effective in life, which is I find that everything has an echo. When you yell in a room, if the you know, if the wall is really close to you, it's going to bounce back to you really quickly. And then you know that there's something there that you can touch and that you can rely on. If it never comes back, it means the wall is so far away that you cannot put any energy on this, because it'll never come back. And this is not good. So, you know, like for love relationship, work relationship, creation, never ever ever invest in people that cannot give you that echo back really quickly, or as soon as you think you can give it back. So for instance, you want to work with a remix with this guy, you know, if he's not answering back, don't wait, just move to something else. If he comes back to you 6 months after, and then after that the echo picks up really fast, cool, then pick it up and then give the energy at the moment it comes back. But in the time that it doesn't come back, don't even bother with it.